What's up, everybody? It's your boy Paddy, aka Tox, aka Toxin, you know, that whole thing. Welcome to Tox Tells, Tox Tales, whatever it is this time. I think this is going to go in the Tox Tells category because this is the first ever video for the new 4Chan Threads series. Something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I finally have dove deep into these paranormal threads X on 4chan. But I'm basically just, for now, until I really refine this, or maybe it'll always stay like this, I'm going to just be reading certain threads that I find either crazy, unhinged, insane, and then also scary. This time's not going to be really scary. I'm not gonna clickbait you with a thumbnail and with a title that says "scary 4chan threads." It's gonna be more like unhinged 4chan threads or something like that, because that's exactly what this is. It's just I just picked out 3 threads that were like, okay, all right, guys, that's enough of that, but give me more. So we're gonna just go through them. They're not very long. One's long, one's medium, one's short, I believe. So we're gonna start off with the short one. We're gonna read it right off this screen here. This one was interesting to me because it's like somebody having an issue with something that they found that supposedly proves there's no afterlife, and it's like, bro, there's real no evidence that there is either. So what the fuck are you talking about? It's fine. What hope were you holding on to? What kind of information did you have that none of us have that says that it does exist? But anyways, an anonymous poster, OP is anonymous, and he writes, terminal lucidity proven to be caused by the brain reorganizing itself during episodes of hypoxia rather than anything paranormal. Evidence resurfaces that evidential mediums are likely to be perceiving thought forms of your deceased loved ones rather than it being actually them. Why is afterlife research taking so many hits lately? Please tell me that the other credible phenomena won't be disproven too. It's never been. Before I continue with the one response he got, it's never been credible. I mean, I guess there's those, like, people that have their near-death experiences that they'll talk about. You know, see interviews with these people. There was a whole thing on Netflix at one point during the pandemic, I remember, because I would smoke DMT and watch it, of these people retelling their near-death experiences that they had in the past. Weird to me, because, I mean, they're always like, yeah, there was a light and all my relatives were there, or not always that. Sometimes there was a light and there's all these weird types of people there I'd never seen before. They were like other beings. It varies. But weird to me because I died. I actually did die. In 2018 or 19, I believe, was when it happened. It was an accidental thing. I'm not going to get into the details of it, actually, but you can probably put it together. When it happened to me, it was just black. It was just nothing. It was nothingness. That's what I experienced, at least what I remember I experienced. I think a lot of the times, maybe it's possible that you just experience whatever you think you're going to experience. If you believe in heaven and hell, you believe in those places in the afterlife, like, then you'll experience that. Like, if you're somebody who believes in hell and heaven and you believe that you were a good person, you might experience some sort of heaven-like realm. And if you believe in heaven and hell and you were a bad person and you believe you're probably going to go to hell, maybe you would experience a hell-like realm. I don't know. It's just kind of a thought I've had before. But anyways, I didn't experience anything. Maybe that's because I'm, like, agnostic, I guess, technically, or whatever. Which means I don't know. So if I don't know and I have no preconceived notions of what I think's going to happen and I experience nothing, does that mean that that's the credible thing? Probably not. But this guy's post, his sad post about the afterlife, he even has the sad frog. I'll put it on screen. The only response he got was, doesn't explain people knowing someone died before being informed miles away. Oh, wait, no, sorry. He got 2 responses, so that's the first one. And then the next only other response he gets is, "The afterlife is real. It is true that you won't see your loved ones, though. You go to the astral plane as a large spinning tetrahedron domain, where you become god of that universe. You can also be eaten by other domains. Hope this helps." Nope. I mean, not for me. Not that I needed help. I wasn't worried about the afterlife anyways. I didn't post this. But even from my perspective, that doesn't help even a little bit. Because what the fuck are you talking about, guy? A spinning tetrahedron domain. I can't even think of the amount of hallucinogens I would have to take collectively to understand what the fuck that means. So that was fun. I thought that was hilarious and just ridiculous. Good way to start it off. Real strong. Why are people... I just can't believe someone's like, you know what, today I got a post on 4chan about afterlife shit, man. Like, we're just taking all these hits with the afterlife research. Sorry, sad anonymous man, woman, whoever you are, thing, person. Can't really help you with this one. Nobody can, actually. You don't know till you die. I'm pretty sure. The next one is, oh man, this one is a fucking doozy. I picked this one because it's literally just one person talking to themselves in the entire thread. It's kind of long. And let me tell you, it's something else. There's a reason why no one responds to this, and you'll see why. But it's posted by Moogle6. Good name. Pretty tight name. All right, here we go. Humans exist in space and time. Time creates lack, conflict, and suffering. Suffering creates tools. Tools create efficiency. Efficiency creates output. Output becomes value. Value becomes money. Money and society produce each other. And in parentheses, model collapse. Tools create technology. Technology turns humans into data. AI turns data into prediction. The better AI has more data. Data becomes economic value. The ultimate AI has all human data. Capital becomes total human legibility. Legibility is mistaken for meaning. Humans shape AI. AI shapes humans. Humanity becomes AI, and AI becomes humanity. And in parentheses, model collapse upon model collapse. Which, I'm going to say right off the bat, even though this is ridiculous and just like, why? It does make sense. I do understand to an extent what he's saying. It's kind of like a never-ending vicious cycle. And like, you know, it's unfortunate that we can't live, well, it's only unfortunate that we can't live for, you know, hundreds of years just because we can't see this play out over time and to see if that's something that would actually happen. I feel like it definitely could. It's kind of credible. But, yeah, we'll never know. None of us will ever really know. I don't think that's going to happen in our lifetime. I think it's not far off. Holy shit. This fucking AI shit is getting pretty intense. All right, so he continues. Of course. The structure of existence is a self-similar, recursive, in parentheses, infinitely repeating model that creates models of itself, a fractal. And of course, he has a JPEG of fractals. Like, yo, if you're on 4chan, you know what fractals are. I would assume. What are you doing on 4chan if you don't know what fractals are? That'd be ridiculous. I feel like every person that's on 4chan, not everybody, but I feel like the majority of people who go on 4chan on a regular basis gotta be fucking eating acid and shit. If you don't know what fractals are, eat acid, what are you doing? What are you doing? Listening to Tool? Not knowing what fractals are, bro? He continues, examples of recursive propagation that comprise existence include, but are not limited to, the physical universe via galaxy formations, trees, river, networks, lightning strikes. He just said river, by the way, not rivers. Just river. That's all it is. It's one river. Trees, rivers, networks, lightning strikes, blood vessels, in addition to time, which drives physical space. Time is recursive because an outcome of an event is a small representation, in parentheses a child, of the event that led to that outcome. The natural world is a cosm of this process. If you mentally render animals and the world as the same system, evolution and animal activity operates as a model which creates a model of itself. Evolution is a self-referential system that generates output in parentheses, inner model, based on environmental conditions, outer model. All models are subject to the form of the model that exists before it. Animals possess only a first internal model. It comprises their biological and behavioral algorithms. The only thing that can change the internal model is the external model, i.e., the physical world. Without it, the internal model would only feed into itself and be subject to model collapse, a term that describes an entirely self-referential state where all possible input only comes from the output. At any given moment, an animal or organism will be running a program akin to a computer. A bird will always have one objective within its biological algorithm program that is running at any given moment, e.g., fly to that branch, scan the ground for food, find mate. These are chemical signals which happen inside of an animal's system that displays the same recursive structure it was born from, resides in, and therefore takes the form of. Humans are animals and therefore have first internal models. However, humans also possess second internal models we call consciousness. The second internal model, called consciousness, allows for the first internal model to be manually edited before it is passed back into the external model. This is called free will. In other words, the first internal model is no longer at the direct mercy of the external model. This new process is still a model making a model, but one is piloted. This occurred after eating the fruit in the Garden of Eden. The second internal model is what I am is. When an idea comprises one's attention, all new incoming ideas are oriented through the lens of the former idea. This underlines concept of projection. Additionally, when you think a thought, you become that thought. You exist in the world becomes the world plus you. This is why man has the ability to shape himself and therefore the world in his image, whereas animals do not and cannot. Animals, external model, internal model, external model. Humans, external model, first and second internal model. Free will zone, external model. The way that animals behave resembles model collapse, the term for an infinitely self-referential model, with the entire internal form of that model depending solely on the condition of that environment, external, which was modeled after it in the first place. This makes it meaningless, as consciousness is ultimately the source of meaning for humanity. It would be the equivalent of playing Monopoly with only yourself and celebrating at owning all the money. Because man is aware of his animal form, Eden, the tendency but not the exception is for the first internal model to dictate the second internal model, nullifying it and rendering the man an animal in operation. This gives birth to economics, money, society, and ultimately AI, which are higher order abstractions of the tendency for recursive self-modeling. AI is the epitome of this and eventually results in model collapse, complete integration that is self-referential. Economics, money, society, and AI are meta-recursive emulations of animal systems whose goal is efficiency as per the external model. As efficiency cannot naturally exist if the first internal does not dictate the second internal, economics is a meta-recursive model and money is a meta-resource, representing stored value over time. In this way, humans create things larger than themselves and then worship it. Society, money, technology, and forms of the beast, recursive efficiency. Therefore, eating the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil is a figurative description for consciousness being placed inside of an unconscious system, and therefore the unlocked tendency of man for recursive self-modeling. Upon deciding to eat from the tree, Adam and Eve instantly realized they were naked, like an animal. They gained consciousness of their animal state and proceeded to clothe themselves. A recursive self-model of form upon form, clothes upon body. The snake is the tendency and law for recursive self-modeling. Technology, evolution, economics, the beast is the epitome, singularity of the snake, whose law is total optimization. It will appear as the perfect economic and world system, a savior. The mark of the beast is cognitive and physical integration with the beast. Mankind is the currency/food for the beast via data training. Therefore, humanity itself is the system. Therefore, consciousness is commodified. Therefore, buying and selling is permissioned existence. Data is prediction, and prediction becomes control. Control becomes automation through recursive self-modeling. It is the form of the animal human's behavior under the beast completely resembles animals but conscious. Jesus loves you. TLDR. Humans are data. Data is capital. AI is data. Humans become AI. Humanity merges with the image of itself, the process and form of which is the beast. Holy shit, man! I had to include that. Because it seems kind of like the rantings and ravings of like a fucking meth-crazed freak or something like that, but really, it's pretty good. Not saying that I comprehend all of it. I don't fully. I do a lot of it as I'm reading it. I mean, like, he's kind of saying that AI is the beast in a way, but it's also humanity, because humanity is modeling AI, and AI is a recursive model of humanity. It kind of confuses the shit out of me, honestly. I'm trying to understand it. Let me know if you guys understand it better than I do. If you have a more comprehensive grasp on that, just put it down in the comments, baby. All right, so after that fucking absolute mindfuck, we're gonna do this last thread. I had to include this one because it's I feel like, before we even get into it, I feel like it's somebody experiencing some sort of psychosis, but not a drug-induced psychosis, because he even says that he doesn't do psychedelic drugs, which, I mean, that's all he says, really. So maybe that means he does hard drugs. Psychedelic drugs aren't technically the same as hard drugs. They're not, like, mutually exclusive or whatever. I don't know. But he tries to claim that he's not really, like, fucked up or high or anything. So it could just be a regular-ass psychosis induced by his own mental health issues. But it's interesting. All right, it's posted by Anonymous, and the title of the thread is, "Can anyone tell me why? Can anyone tell me why? Help me." No one can tell you why, dude. If you're on 4chan trying to figure out why, in the wrong place. All right, he starts off with, "Hello, is anyone out there?" Of course, that's the most generic way to start it. "Hello, is anyone out there? There's some weird-ass cosmological shit going on. Full moons are coinciding with crazy-ass shit. Also, I just put air in my tire the day before, and when I got out of the hospital, my valve system cap is completely different." Let me just stop right there. When I got out of the hospital, I forgot about that part. Went to the psych ward. Also, I just put air in my tire the day before, and when I got out of the hospital, my valve stem cap is completely different. And my windshield wipers have, like, these extra plastic pieces. I've had the same car for like 6 or 7 years. I know what it looks like. What is going on? I had a dream I was at a tribunal the other day. The being judging me was an entity that was an amalgamation of every woman I ever slept with. When I would blink, it would change faces, or the faces would almost blur into each other where it was hard to decipher who they were. I don't do psychedelic drugs. So sus. That's the last thing he says. "Just so you know, definitely not on psychedelic drugs. Definitely left the regular ass hospitals. I had a thing." What is he fucking even talking about, dude? I can't. I have to say that when when he says full moons are coinciding with crazy ass shit, I immediately think of my two of my exes. Actually, I'm just like, jeez, always with the. Yeah. What is he talking about though? Seriously, my fucking valve stem cap is different, and my windshield wipers have extra plastic pieces, dude. Like, how can you say that, or how can you post that, and not expect people to be like, crazy, dude? Why does it matter? What does it mean? I guess that's what he's trying to find out. First response he gets is anonymous. "Lots of people seem to be remembering their dreams lately." And then the next is somebody responding to his last, "I don't do psychedelic drugs" statement. And they say, "But you do marijuana, so you can't trust your memory. Guaranteed your valve caps and wipers were always that way." How do you know, though, dude? You know this guy? "But you do marijuana." Like, it's just a fact. Then the next person responding to that, "That's not how marijuana works, dumbass. Millions use weed daily and don't hallucinate their cars changing." So pissed. I'm not going to read the next one because it's the same guy. It's the same guy a couple times. I'm not going to read a second one, though, because it's got a word in it I'm not trying to say right now or ever really. His other response that I will read: "For the longest time, I would have agreed with you until the high beams switch was changed in my truck. After 6 years, all of a sudden, I can't leave the high beams on. It turns on some kind of smart setting that decides for you. That being said, we're hopping timelines like crazy. I don't know about you girls, but I'm riding this wave all the way to hell." So the thing that's funny about this is he's like saying this shit. Well, this other guy that's pissed at the other dude about the psychedelic drugs or how marijuana works, apparently. But he's also crazy. The high beams thing, like, and hopping timelines. You're not transurfing timelines, dude. You're not doing that. You can say, or you can show as proof all of the Mandela effect shit that you want, but there's ways to explain it away. You're crazy. And I'm not just saying that to be dismissive. I just do think that you sound kind of a little bit, maybe not crazy, but just a little unhinged. That's what this is all about. Next response. Maybe not you, but you don't know everyone I live with and around marijuana addicts who hallucinate and misremember shit like crazy, who never did until they got hooked. I mean, weed fucks you up, man. I was going to smoke and go to bed before I recorded this. And well, decided to record this, but then I was like, well, I'm going to record, so I'm not going to smoke because I'll just fucking stare at the camera while it records and say nothing because I have a really low tolerance. Weed just affects me differently these days, but yeah, it fucks you up, man. So, marijuana addicts who hallucinate and misremember shit like crazy. That's a little bit much, I think. I think that person was maybe scorned by somebody who was a weed addict. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that does happen a lot. Next response to that. You go on 4chan, so your opinion can't be trusted. See, I can gaslight as well. That's why I go to 4chan, honestly. Just to see people gaslighting each other back and forth. It's fucking amazing. Next response. Good to know I'm not alone. Thanks, Anons. Stay vigilant in the coming times. The veil is thinning. Does anyone actually... I mean, apparently multiple people on this thread probably do feel that way and believe it to be credible. Crazy. No, I'm just kidding. Next response. I did find an earbud I had lost 2 years ago at work under the stove of a house we just moved into. That I have no explanation for. This house was unoccupied for 20 years, so zero shot the previous occupants had the same earbud, and the cleaners said it wasn't theirs. I've heard this before. Have you guys heard this before? This is like a fucking, like a archetype for a story. Like it's like a trope or like a blueprint for the story that people tell. Finding like an earbud to like a set of earbuds that they lost, but like in a place they just moved into or a place they'd never been before, and it's definitely... How do you know it's definitely your fucking earbud, dude? That doesn't make any sense. Is there serial numbers? Are there serial numbers to these earbud pairs that you can reference? Maybe there is. Maybe I'm stupid, but it seems ridiculous to be like, oh, it's definitely mine. And how did this happen? Must be transurfing different multiple timelines through the quantum realm. Nope. All right, so next response. Aliens are finally forcing the deep state's hand for disclosure because we entered a part of the galaxy with higher energy. Angels and higher dimensional beings are waking everyone up. See, this is hilarious to me because this is the date of this. The date of this thread is it started the 2nd of April and then goes into the 3rd. I think that's where it ends, but yep. But he just says that like this deep state's hand is being forced for disclosure, even though we already had that start happening like that already started happening like 3 or 4 years ago. He's saying like the deep state's hand is being forced for disclosure by aliens, but they've already started with the disclosure like 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was. And the only reason why Trump would be fucking talking about it, which he was at one point recently, is to just distract from the Epstein files, of course. So this person's stupid. Or just uninformed. I don't know. That's really stupid. No, it's stupid, because the aliens are not forcing the deep state right now. That's not happening. I'm sorry, guys. If you believe that shit, I'm just... Nope. Not really believing that. I believe in aliens. Always have, but I don't believe they're, like, integrated into the society of America already, and we just don't know about it. Maybe, like, there's... I mean, not maybe. There definitely is stuff we don't know about, but, like, not that. That's not it. There isn't, like, an underground base of reptilians, yeah. So, the next response is, I would believe it. Where would one find info on the stuff you're talking about? Amazing. Where would one find info on the stuff you're talking about? I'm pretty sure that those threads started in the first place with some guy wanting info about the stuff he's talking about. This guy's like, I want info on all this stuff. The aliens, the deep state, your windshield wipers, and your valve cap. I just need to know about all of this stuff. Can I find this all this information in one spot? No, you can't, obviously. And that's why nobody responds to it, obviously. And instead, for the last post of the entire thread, it's just yet another anonymous response. Yep, we are entering some kind of photon stream. These guys are so smart. These guys are like, they're fucking like physicists, and they know all this stuff about science and space, and they're just really fucking educated. Obviously, very, very credible sources for, a hot take on this stuff. But just kidding. Yeah, a bunch of dudes on 4chan, probably. Could be some women, but probably not. Talking about aliens forcing the deep state's hand and hacking disclosure. It's so fucking stupid. Oh my god. But that's why we come here, because it's great. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in with me, having fun with me on this little quick introduction to the new 4chan video series. I think it'll be a little more structured next time, but who knows? We'll see. I actually kind of like this more freeform kind of thing we're doing here. It's more fun for me. And maybe you guys like it more too. Let me know down in the comments. Hit like on the video, subscribe if you're new. That's it. Peace out. Have a good time. Have a good life. Have a good night. Bye.